7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome to another X-Wingin It. And your host Greg Evans here, Nerdy Vet 574, and I'm here with Indiana Sloan, my buddy Travis is back on the show. And right now, I seem to be having quite a technical problem here, so hopefully we can get through this. StreamYard's been having some issues today. Hopefully, you guys are hearing me well. If not, let me know. But right now, things are looking kind of rough on my end a little bit. I want to thank all who have joined so far today. Good to see you guys on here. First off, Travis, before we get started here, I want to say thank you to TRG Toys and Collectibles. For them, we're able to have the show. Make sure you check it out at trgtoys.com. Now, obviously, we're going to talk about the Acolyte. So, this obviously has been a hot button point for a lot of people, especially with the first two episodes. Now, Travis has been on for a little while. Back. Let me know, what are your thoughts so far on the first two episodes of the series?
Yeah, man, that's a very loaded question to start. So yeah, well, glad to be back. I don't hate it, but I don't love the series yet. I think it does have a lot of potential as things go on to become a really good show. It's got some good premise behind it. I mean, I like the first two episodes. I liked. We'll talk about the third one. I like the first two episodes better than the third episode. So I guess I'm kind of mixed on it. Some good things, some bad things, but overall, kind of on the fence, I guess, as far as where I fall is like, I don't love the show, but I don't hate it. So it's just kind of, yeah, I watch it. I guess I'm waiting for a little bit more to happen. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, it's one of these ones we're seeing very, very mixed emotions from a lot of Star Wars fans, and it's bringing out some very toxic fans to some very understanding fans. So it's interesting to see how this series is going to keep going. Now, obviously, we're going to talk about probably the most controversial episode yet, and we are talking about obviously the third episode here of the Acolyte. Now, this one here, kind of, we didn't really know what to expect. Again, with an all new series, we're talking about times before any stories have been written. You know, we've got obviously the new books, the High Republic, and all that stuff there. But we're in a new era of Star Wars storytelling, and obviously this episode again focuses around Osha and May. And what is very interesting with this episode is we really see. So this episode is pretty much just a straight up flashback. We all know that from that. There and everybody knows how much I love flashbacks, but it definitely is a all flashback episode, which I thought they could have used less of to tell this story, but they went through it. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Osha and May. So here we kind of learn that, you know, these two, even though they're twins, you know, we learn May kind of doesn't want to be on her own, and Osha kind of is her own identity. So we kind of learn about this, and with again, Travis, with you not being on last week, I mean, what are your thoughts about these twins and the impact that they're going to have on the series so far?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they're twins kind of, you know, we've talked about this before with, you know, previous Star Wars shows where there's like certain cliche sort of things like, oh, the child needs to be taken care of, the various other. In this case, again, we have twins. I'll be curious to see what sort of connection they have. Obviously, one seems to be more light side, one seems to be more, you know, dark side. Kind of gets into some of that Force dyad sort of stuff that we did in the you know, in the sequel trilogy with Kylo Ren and Rey being kind of twins as far as the Force is concerned, and obviously we've got Luke and Leia, twins again in the Force. So that's one of the things I'm a little disappointed with, is it wasn't anything too new in that regard, as far as two Force sensitive twins that are on kind of opposite sides, and we've kind of seen that a little bit already. So I do hope that they kind of further develop that sort of relationship. And we'll see. I'm trying to have faith in where the writers and the storytellers are headed, but right now I'm struggling a little bit with what they're gonna do. I hope it's a little bit more interesting than just one's good, one's bad. At the end, they make up and both become good. It's kind of what I'm fearful is going to have happen. It's kind of the whole redemption thing. No, they're best friends. Everybody forgets that this other, the dark side one went off and killed a bunch of the Jedi and all is forgiven. So I hope they do a cop out with that kind of like they've done before. So I'm trying to stay positive, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd be curious to know your kind of thoughts on the whole twin aspect of it as well. But yeah, it's nothing too unique, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, I'm kind of at the same thing as I don't really know where they're going exactly with this. As I talked about on other Star Wars shows, the whole orphan thing or the whole something has to happen to your family thing seems to be the theme in every Star Wars episode and movie that we see. So there's definitely a lot of there. But what I really find interesting about this is how they're very adamant of showing that May is powerful, but doesn't want to do things alone, doesn't want to be separate, doesn't want to, she always wants her sister with her or whoever, and kind of wants that bond. Where Osha kind of is the individual that wants to go out and explore and be her own person. And we'll get more into that a little bit here when we talk more about this episode. But I'm really seeing this kind of, again, light and dark battle, or kind of this battle between two where I need you, but if I can't have you, then no one can, kind of feeling, and it's very interesting that they're going through this. And we'll talk a little bit more again about that, with some of the actions that happen there. And I want to give a shout out here real quick to Justin Lee. Welcome. I always love when you're on the show. I know you're always going to put some Dash Randar comments in there. Again, we can't see unfortunately, we can't see the Instagram comments right now on our StreamYard. So I have Instagram up running so I can make sure I can see what you guys are commenting on. Also, Roughneck, thanks for watching. Smitty, DDT, thanks for watching. We're glad to have you on our show today. So obviously these sisters are out here, they're playing in the forest and they're not supposed to be there. And then here comes Mother Corell. And again, I'm probably hacking these names up. Again, this is the first of them. And so we're really kind of seeing them, but obviously a very familiar looking alien in the Star Wars universe, could be related somehow to Maul, who knows? But the Zebrek, or however again you say it there, she's a very stern kind of individual, as you could tell. And obviously when we meet her, we obviously get that kind of, hey, I'm a very disciplined person. This is what needs to be done. You guys don't deserve treats because you guys didn't follow the rules. And she has that, that really kind of controlling feature and look about her. What were your thoughts when you were introduced to this character and you saw her for the first time?
Yeah, no, I mean, she definitely seemed to be the, if you want to go with the good cop, bad cop sort of analogy, she was definitely the strict by the rules. Like, hey, you didn't do what you were supposed to do, so no, you don't get any treats, which seemed pretty logical in my mind. I was kind of surprised the other one's like, oh no, sure, you can have a treat even though you snuck outside of the walls and put our whole coven at risk and did all these things you're not supposed to do, but have a lollipop. So yeah, it's and obviously we'll talk more about this episode. I don't think there'll be too much more about this character. I would be curious to know, because I mean, we could talk about it, I'm sure, coming up, the whole, I carried them, I created them sort of a thing. Yeah, there's definitely something more there that I want to know what that whole situation is about. And then here's the other mother, who seems like kind of like the head honcho when it comes to the coven, who definitely took a more caring, gentle glove approach to the twins.
Yeah. It's, to me, again, this is where we're seeing a lot of interesting stuff. Now, as I go into this, I want to warn people that we're going to talk about some stuff that obviously seems to be triggering a lot of Star Wars fans. Now, nothing here or the show, obviously, we respect everybody's opinions, and we want to make sure that we're respecting yours as well. So we want to know what you feel about this episode and what you truly feel about Star Wars here. We're getting some interesting comments already. We've got some here from Darth Vader autographs. The show's next level garbage. Somebody put word on the street is that season 2 is already scrapped and dismantling sets already. Even Justin Lee, this was a pretty bad episode. New witches and their take on the Force kind of all over the place. It's definitely rubbed a lot of fans wrong, and it's very interesting to see with this. What I find very interesting about this, again, how you said the good cop bad cop look, again, kind of shows Osha and May how they kind of want to go their separate ways. Now, this witch cult, that's what we'll call them, kind of like a witch cult, witch Jedi Force user cult, is out there, and they know the Jedi are out there looking for Force sensitive children. So that is a fact that's been always everywhere, every Star Wars story since the Jedi that we've known. So, they're obviously trying to keep their own safe and kind of stuck within their little cult and everything. But obviously the Jedi know that they're there. And so we get into this ceremony, which just to me seemed very forced, no pun intended, with the Force stuff, but it was kind of just, it was rough. And it wasn't because of, and this is, I want to get this out now because this is where I've heard some backlash before from other people who comment on this. It's not because it's an all-female cast at this point. It's not because of, it's just this whole cult thing. It's just the acting was off to me. It just did not seem strong. The chant stuff wasn't really strong. It didn't pull me into like a Night Sister kind of thing, which I know it's probably wasn't supposed to, but it was just one of these things that this whole episode just seemed really off to me. And I don't know about you, Travis. And man, we are getting the comments on Instagram right now, and I love it. This is why we talk about this stuff. Somebody DDD, I forced myself to watch this series. They're talking about the song. It's like the water at the bottom of the garbage truck. Wow. So we're definitely getting opinions here. I mean, what I don't know.
No, I'm there with you.
What about you?
Yeah, and it's it's unfortunate to a degree that we have to put out these sort of disclaimers before we then try to talk critically of something. We've had to do it before with other Mandalorian episodes in the past and various other things because Star Wars has become a very, very, unfortunately, a very divisive property, we'll call it. Anytime there's a lot of women in something and somebody says, hey, I don't like this series, one group will say, oh, well, you just don't like it because it's a strong female characters or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, you constantly have to defend yourself, which is unfortunate. So, just like Greg said, nothing to do with any of the issues I have with this series has anything to do with the gender of the cast and the characters, the sexual orientation of the characters or anything like that. It's just I'm struggling to find a reason to care about what I'm seeing. They're clearly making the Jedi out, which the prequel series kind of already did that a little bit, sort of pulled back the covers a little bit of the Jedi, and it's like, hey, the Jedi aren't all wonderful, all-knowing, great people. They make mistakes. And they cause issues. Sometimes their own arrogance would get in the way, and that's what led to the rise of Palpatine. We have to go into the whole prequel series, but stuff happens. Yeah, and sure. And so I think this series is doing that as well. So I hope there's a payoff to it at some point. I'm not sure how many episodes there are. We're only 3 in, so I'm assuming we're less than halfway. I'm guessing it's right 8. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, the Jedi, sort of come in and seem like we're here to steal your kids and do these sorts of things. So they definitely are. They've kind of hinted at it a little bit with why May's so upset with these 4 Jedi in particular. Anyway, so there's definitely going to be something there. But yeah, I mean, the Coven's an interesting concept. Again, seeing more people that are aware and use the Force that aren't the Jedi is kind of a cool concept. Maybe there could have been actually more with the Coven and built that up. And maybe instead of doing one flashback episode, kind of Boba Fett style, maybe done some flashbacks intermixed with the other episodes. So we had more time with the Coven and cared more and got to know what they were doing a little bit more than just, hey, they showed up, did this weird, goofy ceremony, and then get killed. So it was kind of it was so quick we didn't really care too much about the Coven, I guess.
Yeah. So like what I'm looking at here too is what I kind of got from this episode. And I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, everybody. I mean, the comments are blowing up on Instagram right now, and it's just we're getting out there, you know, and I love it that we're getting this kind of dialogue. Justin, is pretty weird that she has the tattoos on her face. Maul only added those as time went on. I think by Palpatine. What's the purpose of her tats? Good question. Maybe we'll find that out. There, you know, we're talking about the writing on here. And there were pretty strong female characters in other prior shows, movies. Padme, Leia, Duchess Satine, Ahsoka, Mom Mothra. So yeah, I mean, there is, you know, Star Wars has been great for many, many years. It's just interesting how we're just taking this complete, you know, left turn and really kind of dividing everything here. But let's talk about what I kind of got from this episode. And if I'm wrong, I mean, I could be wrong, but again, this is my opinion on here. So obviously we know Osha and May are on two separate paths right now. Yeah, May is that one who wants to do everything, who's powerful, wants to stay in this witch cult, and wants to, you know, get that power. Where, you know, Osha is like, hey, I want to see more about the Jedi. I want to learn about them. So, you know, the mom tells her to lie, you know, say, hey, you know, whatever's in your heart, tell the opposite, you know, so they don't take you away. And to me, it's a very kind of leading episode because, you know, we preach everything about respect each other's beliefs, respect each other's thoughts. And, you know, and if somebody wants to do something, you know, that's different than yours, you still that in your beliefs, you should still respect that. Where in here, it was more like, we don't respect that you want to do your own thing. And if you do your own thing, you know, May, I'm going to burn this whole place down, and then no one can do the whole thing. So to me, that got very interesting and just kind of, I don't know, it just was very misleading to me of what the whole concept of what we're trying to look for, and that's acceptance and everything, where at the same time, acceptance wasn't preached here. It was more of, you can't be different or else. So I don't know. And it also made the Jedi look like the bad guys. Now, there better be more to this story. And if I'm breaking up really bad, let me know, because I'm having some difficulty here with StreamYard right now. It's giving me StreamYard warnings left and right. If you know, if the Jedi, if Torb, like Jedi Master Torben, who, you know, took his own life because of this whole scenario, because he wanted to apologize for it, it wasn't the Jedi's fault that May burnt down the temple. It was her fault for being selfish. And again, I could be wrong. I don't know, but that's how I feel about it. So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? We're still getting comments. And Travis, I want to hear what your thoughts are on this too.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be something else happened at that, we'll call it the temple. I'm just not sure what else to call it. Because all of the sisters in the Coven just laying there dead, they did not die from a fire. They were already there as the fire was, you know, kind of raging on. And for the Jedi to be as guilty about what happened, to be willing to, you know, sort of kill yourself over, like, as an apology and regret. And I'm sure they're going to tell us what it is, but yeah, there was something there that the Jedi were involved in. I also thought it was interesting that Sol was there as quickly as he was, because it felt like the fire had just started, and then like 3 minutes later, he's already in there and they're already all dead. And I'm like, oh, it's kind of coincidental timing to make it all the way there that quickly. So maybe the Jedi were already there and they did something that actually caused the sisters, the witches, to die, and that's why they're guilty, and May holds it against them. So yeah, I'm sure all answers, you know, all questions will be answered as we go forward. But
if it doesn't go that route, then this would probably be some of the worst writing I've ever seen.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to hint at and allude to, hey, the Jedi are to blame. They're not really great, and they did these things. And yeah, if that isn't the case and there's no payoff, I'll be like, okay, yeah, you're right. This is really, really awful stuff.
I mean, we're seeing stone buildings burn to the ground. We're seeing, space fire in space. And I know all this stuff's made up, but come on, we can just get a little bit of stuff that's kind of accurate here. But it's just there's something with this right now where the story just doesn't make sense. And I honestly, right now, it's one of these things where, it's on tomorrow. Am I super excited to watch it? No. Am I going to watch it? Yes, because I want to see what the next episode brings us. But again, it's just as you can tell, I'm kind of dumbfounded about this episode. I really don't know what to say, people. And if you know me, I talk a lot, and I'm speechless with a lot of this because it's just one of these things that I look at it and I was just a lot of it did not make sense and just seemed to really just poor to me. So I don't know. I mean, Travis, again, like I said, I didn't hear you talked a little bit about the first two episodes. And I'll say the first two episodes, I kind of was optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
It was, to me at the time, was better than Andor action wise. And again, when I say I don't like Andor, people, it's not because it was bad. It's because it's not my type of Star Wars. I want aliens, lasers, lightsabers, and all that stuff. That's my kind of Star Wars. Andor was a good writing. It was a good show, but it wasn't my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't like Andor. But now I don't know where I know we're only 3 episodes in, and it's hard to judge. But right now, it's not looking promising to me.
Yeah, I mean the first episode was enjoyable. You get the fight at the very beginning. It did kind of suck to have Carrie-Anne Moss's character killed off in like the first 5 minutes after kind of all the buildup of like, oh, she's one of the main characters and all the posters and stuff. And maybe she'll show up in some more of the flashbacks and stuff. But yeah, I mean the first episode ended and I was like, okay, this is different. We got kind of like a murder mystery, mistaken identity sort of thing going. We have to, solve the crime sort of a thing. Episode 2, I thought was interesting as well. But then episode 3 was just so different, I guess, because it did the flashback thing, and it just didn't do a great job of making me like more. It did not become more invested in any of the characters after the flashback, which I think was supposed to be the intent. You're supposed to feel more for May or understand where she's coming from more, or dislike the Jedi more, or whatever the intent behind the writing of that episode was. I feel like it missed the mark for me. So we'll see what the next one's bring for us.
Well, yeah, we'll see on this one, and then we'll kind of go off of that. Like, to me, again, I don't know. I don't really know what to expect anymore. But I do want to put this out here, is that no matter what people think about this, and I know there's a lot of people who are unhappy about, this episode and about the way things are going and everything. But the one thing I ask in the Star Wars community is please just respect everybody's opinions. We see too much now where if someone says, oh, I didn't like this, and it's because of this, because of this, and all of a sudden, the nice comment, it's just crazy. Is this, some people like Star Wars for what it is. Some people like Star Wars for what's becoming. Some people don't like it at all anymore. So, as somebody who deals with it a lot every day in his life, I make sure to try to respect everybody's opinions and see, and, I try to voice as many as I can on the show that I can say and stuff as well, without YouTube and Facebook kind of putting a slap on us. And by the way, for my YouTube watchers, I am so sorry. I know you're not seeing this right now. It looks like it is not streaming right now on YouTube. I have not been able to pull it up. Again, StreamYard is having technical issues today, so we're trying to get through as much of this. So right now, it's showing just on a couple of our Facebook feeds and on Instagram. So thanks for watching, everybody here. Again, Justin Lee writing. He goes, Book of Boba Fett has some lazy writing, but so far this takes the cake. I'm kind of right there with you right now. They're both about the same for me, Justin. That's a lot for me to say that about the Book of Boba Fett. Smitty DT, talk about Rebels. Smitty, I could talk about Rebels every single episode if I could. Everyone knows Rebels is one of my favorites. Bring out another season of The Mandalorian. Bring back Star Wars. It's not rocket science, and that's the thing. Is this? And Travis, I talked about this with Brendan on the last episode too, is we're looking at a time now, and a lot of people are like, oh, this is great. We're getting away from the Skywalker story, but we're really not, because we're heading towards the Skywalker story, not away from it or anything here. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see some time in this series because he was around then. But I mean, what do you think we need to see to try to get? And I kind of laughed because I saw a meme and I meant to print it off, put on the show here, but it was hard to believe it took a pack of Oreos to bring Star Wars fans back together. But it really hasn't. Everyone's talking about their Oreos. But I mean, what do you think we need to see now out of Star Wars again to try to get back on the path? And I know that everyone's going to say, you know, the writing, and then we're going to see things like woke and those things there. But I mean, do you think that we need to do a complete reset?
Yeah,
or how can we say what we got?
Yeah, I thought the Mandalorian was going to be that. And it's not even the introduction of Grogu and that sort of stuff, but yeah, season 1. I mean, end of season 1, you literally had Luke Skywalker show up, and then you have Ahsoka become a big part of it, and Luke Skywalker again showing. I think it was Mandalorian, maybe it was Book of Boba Fett. But I thought those series were gonna, even though they take place during the Skywalker timeline, I thought they were going to be separated enough from it to not really be impacted and feel like, oh, this is just another interwoven story with all of that. I really think what we need to do from a Star Wars perspective is either go so far back, Old Republic style, to where, yes, there is Old Republic canon that existed previously, pre-Disney, that they don't have to follow. I know it'll make a lot of people angry if they don't follow the Old Republic timeline and with Darth Revan and all those sorts of characters sort of to the letter, but that is what it is. So either that or really just decide, hey, we're going to do a series. We've talked about this before. I'm a big fan of like the scoundrel, bounty hunter, smuggler, non-Jedi sort of characters. Do like an underworld, criminal world, Han Solo-esque sort of series, and just stay away from the Jedi. Stay away from all that other stuff. Stay away from Skywalker or Ahsoka, any other Jedi. If you want to have rebel and imperial presences and things like that to kind of play into the story, fine. But just stay so far out of it and focus in on that area that I think that could bring some fresh storytelling. And then you don't have to worry so much about, oh, well, those force powers don't make sense. They wouldn't have had that yet. You know, had they force heal, that didn't exist. You know, you kind of avoid all that kind of bickering and sort of stuff and just, you know, do good storytelling and then wrap it up inside the Star Wars universe and people will be happy.
Yeah, it's just, man, it's hard to say. And it's like, and it stinks because, again, I'm not a huge comic book reader. You know, I read some of the comics, you know, when the Boba Fett series came out. And I talked about this last episode as well. I mean, that's the stories that I personally want to see on a screen. You know, The Mandalorian, again, that's what I thought the Book of Boba Fett was going to be. You know, we were going to get the Boba Fett back in the bounty hunting kind of, you know, atmosphere. And even when he was teased in it, it was like, man, he's pretty badass. But, and then we went down the street of the Book of Boba Fett. I'm not going to get, because we get into this a lot, so I'm not going to get too much into it. But again, it was one of the worst Disney Plus series. And that kills me to say it, because people who know me know I'm a huge Boba Fett fan. But just overall, first of all, I think we need a big movie on the big screen. One that kind of brings everybody together. And I hate to say it, but I don't think The Mandalorian and Grogu is it. That, to me, I don't know, especially with all the rumors that we're seeing that it's going to take place during the same time as The Mandalorian. So we're just getting more side quests and more of, you know, the same thing that we've already seen. Again, that's just rumors. We don't know exactly what the story is going to be about. But I think we need that big screen kind of thing because, man, I don't know about you, but during like COVID and stuff, when they were showing like The Empire Strikes Back and Rogue One and everything back on the big screen, I saw bigger crowds in there during COVID and stuff now, then like you just, it was unreal, you know. And then when, you know, Phantom Menace came out, everybody getting up and applauding, and it was just the movie theaters does stuff for people, and I really think we need that. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that one? Like, to me, I need to see something on the big screen soon.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely something in theaters will be very cool. It'll be a big event for everybody, and I think it'll kind of, like you said, Oreo style, sort of bring the fans back together. You know, I'm trying to be optimistic about the Mando Grogu movie, just because Favreau's involved in it, and he's done a pretty good job so far. Seems, you know, compared to some of the other stuff that's been coming out. So I guess I'm trying to stay optimistic there. Yeah, I mean, there's still so much potential in the Star Wars universe to do good stories, whether it's a series, a movie. It's just finding the right. I don't know if it's finding the right team, the right creators, the right people, the right leadership. There's something. It's not like it's a hard. And maybe it is. I guess I'm not a screenwriter, so maybe it's harder than I think. But it doesn't seem like it should be that hard to find good stories out there to tell within Star Wars. You know, for example, I know they're not going to make it now, but the whole Rangers of the New Republic series they were supposed to be doing years ago before the whole Gina Carano thing happened. Yeah. But to me, that would be kind of a cool series. A group of people that go off around the galaxy, find Imperial remnants or warlords out there and take them down. You know, that could be kind of almost a procedural sort of series out there that each week, hey, who's the bad guy of the week they're going after, and doing this kind of cool action sequences and stuff like that. But then there's no Jedi involved. There's none of that sort of stuff. You have to worry about the Force. And so there's so much opportunity out there. It's just somebody's not getting the chance to tell the stories that they want to tell. And I don't know. I don't know where to place the blame. I don't want to be one of those people that's just like, oh, Kathleen Kennedy's the devil, you know, that kind of stuff, where I just try to blame one person. I feel like there's more than that, but we'll see.
Yeah, you know, and it's like we're sitting here looking at some of these comments, you know, and you know, a lot of people are saying it's Disney in general, not just Star Wars. As long as they're in charge, we're seeing kind of an agenda here, which we hear that quite a bit. You know, and then, you know, Darth Vader autographs a fun story about a princess, a wizard, scoundrel in space battles. No message other than good beats evil. And honestly, excuse me. And honestly, you know, Darth Vader autographs, what I wouldn't mind seeing the view from the bad guys, you know, like, and I thought we were really going to get that. And Travis, I don't know if you were able to watch all the episodes yet of Tales of the Empire or not. But that was, again, I was kind of disappointed a little bit because, you know, the Tales of the Jedi, those little shorts told so much and answered so many Star Wars questions that a lot of us had. So I was really looking forward to the Tales of the Jedi, which, you know, it was cool. We got the story in Magistrate, you know, and how she got to where she is and with working with Thrawn and stuff. And that was kind of a cool story. But then, like, the other story kind of didn't really, to me, fit the Tales of the Empire. It was kind of like, you know, Jedi leaves Empire, Jedi joins Empire, realizes Empire bad, Jedi leaves Empire. That should have been like Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah, it was definitely the that sort of redemption. You're not really a bad guy, cop out sort of ending that, hey, we can all come together and we're friends and we're good now. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that would be cool to see kind of the, you know, a series that's written to try and make you agree with the Empire or the dark side or the, you know, the Sith character. I don't know, you know, if Disney wants to try and do that, and, you know, because they'll probably get backlash from some people out there say, oh, well, they're glorifying this person who, you know, just kills without remorse and is a bad guy. And they, you know, even like the other things they do, like Maleficent, you know, it's kind of an example sort of to a degree, you know, the bad witch character that they did the Angelina Jolie movies to try to, like, well, she's really not so bad. She was just kind of misunderstood and sort of forced into that, you know, into that life and that sort of thing. So they could maybe, you know, maybe they would try to do something like that, but it'd be really cool if they did. I'd love to see it because, like you said, the Tales of the Empire was kind of a letdown. I mean, the magistrate character, Morgan Elsbeth, yeah, it was kind of neat, but then I was expecting more from the other story. And it was kind of just like, oh,
yeah.
Empire is
So,
bad. Inquisitors are bad.
yeah, it's just we're kind of at this like purgatory right now of Star Wars, and hopefully we can get out of it. And start seeing some positive going from there as well. I want to thank you all tonight. We're going to cut the show a little short. Like I said, we're having a lot of technical issues with StreamYard. Like I said, I'm surprised this thing is still running right now. Again, we'll have this re-uploaded on YouTube once we're able to, but it seems like YouTube is not cooperating with anything with the feeds right now. Again, Travis, I'm glad to have you back here. We'll see more Travis and also Brendan as well. So very excited to have that here. We will have a special guest next week. We will be announcing a guest for the upcoming ICCC. So Michael Havens will be here to talk about that. So it'll be exciting to have him on the show again and talk about that and see who we're going to be introducing as another guest for that convention. And other than that, again, Travis, glad you're here. Glad you made it back from Vegas okay, and Chicago. And at the same time, moving to a new house as well. You and Brennan both at the moving aspects of everything. Again, we're glad to have you here. And everybody, again, be safe out there. We can't wait to talk more. And we'll be back next Monday, hopefully with less issues here. And everybody on Instagram, I want to thank you for being so interactive today. It was great to have you on there as well. And so until next week, we will see you later, and may the force be with you.